Good evening, everyone. My name is Bill White. I'm the Mayor Pro Tem of the Village of Downers Grove. Our Mayor Martin Tully is traveling on business and can't be here tonight, so I guess you're stuck with me. So, the first thing we do is, as a proud tradition, we stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So before we can proceed further, we need to have a roll call. So we ask our fine village clerk, April Holden, to please call the roll.
Commissioner Wallace? Here. Commissioner Earl? Here. Commissioner Waldeck?
Here.
Commissioner White?
Here.
Commissioner Jose?
Here.
Commissioner Barnett?
Here.
Mayor Tully?
Okay, we have a quorum. Thank you. Mr. Fielder?
I am proud to introduce our fire chief, Jeffrey Pendelski. Jeff is a 28-year veteran of the fire service. He joined the Downers Grove Fire Department in April of 1993. He has served as a firefighter, a lieutenant, a battalion chief, and a deputy chief. He previously served as a firefighter with Palos Heights Fire District prior to coming to Downers Grove. He has a Master of Science degree in Public Safety Administration from Lewis University. He is also a credentialed Chief Fire Officer through the Center for Public Safety Excellence. He's the co-author of a textbook, Rapid Intervention Company Operations, which focuses on firefighting and rescue procedures. Outside of this distinguished career in the fire service, Chief Pendelski is an avid fisherman. He has the pictures to prove it. And enjoys spending time with his wife, Audra, and his beautiful daughter, Victoria. I would now like to call on Chief Pendelski for the swearing in. April.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeffrey S. Pendelski,
I, Jeffrey S. Pendelski,
having been appointed to the office of Fire Chief
having been appointed to the office of Fire Chief
in the Village of Downers Grove
in the Village of Downers Grove
in the County of DuPage,
in the County of DuPage,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Fire Chief
of the office of Fire Chief
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Seems like a great time for your first presentation to the council as chief. Chief?
Good evening, council members. I cannot begin to tell you the honor that it is for me to address you this evening for the very first time as your fire chief. Thank you, and thank you, Manager Fieldman, for having the confidence in me to fill this role. Before getting too far along, I want to extend a special thank you to my family. I could not have gotten here without you. Also to my friends, the members of the fire department, and the village team. Without your help and support, I would not have been blessed with this wonderful opportunity. It is a distinct privilege to come to work each and every day with the people that make up the Downers Grove team. Our fire department is proven as one of the best, not only by independent evaluating entities, but also by the level of service and countless acts that are performed by its members on a daily basis. I am proud to be a member of that group. The fire department patch symbolizes courage, pride, dedication, commitment, and integrity in the highest regards. This guides every action that we take. As your fire chief, I plan on further upholding these values, as well as exploring ways to serve our community even better. I promise you and the community nothing less than my best. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Well, at this point, I'm going to exercise the privilege as Mayor Pro Tem to offer a few comments about the importance of the fire department to our community. I think everybody in our community needs to understand that Chief Pendelski will now be leading a fire department that truly is the best of the best. It's not simply a matter of opinion. The ISO 1 badge that is painted on our fire trucks and our other equipment, I say our, because the fire department belongs to all of us. It belongs to the entire community of Downers Grove, all the 49,000 people who live here. That ISO 1 badge is objective evidence that our fire department is the best of the best. It's in the 99th percentile of performance. So anyways, what is that? ISO stands for Insurance Services Offices. It's an independent private ratings agency that helps evaluate the strength of fire protection districts across the country on a wide variety of factors. And that helps insurance companies evaluate risk. And is scored on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being superior. When I last looked, there's about 2,000 fire districts in Illinois, and like 14 have ISO 1. That's truly an exceptional result. And when seconds count, our community has the best of the best, and I believe it's our duty to make sure it stays that way. And fire protection now includes emergency medical, and together with our outstanding protection from the police and from public infrastructure, those are considered what we call our core services. And while I agree with Commissioner Waldeck that we should provide more than core services, we need the whole apple, not just the core. Core services, including fire protection, police protection, and infrastructure, is at the heart of why people form governments. Chief Pendelski has given his oath to be our next fire chief. Our community has chosen him because we have every confidence that he will follow in the footsteps, that he will continue maintaining the ISO 1 rating, and that we will continue to have the very best of the best fire department. Thank you very much. So with that, the chair would invite a motion for the approval of our prior meeting minutes.
Mayor White, I motion to approve the council minutes from September 12th, 2017 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, any comments or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are passed unanimously. Item 5 on our agenda is public comments. This is an opportunity for anybody in the community to come to the microphone and speak on any topic unrelated to items on our agenda this evening. Well, actually, I think I should say we're having a reception at the end. I think I'm out of line.
Yes, after the council meeting, please join us for an informal reception in the committee room.
I apologize for not clarifying early. Okay. Do we have any public comments? Going once? Going twice? Okay, we'll close the public comments. We move to item 6, consent agenda. The chair invites a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mayor White, I motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Anybody in the audience have any comments about the consent agenda? Any members of the council have any comments about the consent agenda? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earl?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace?
Aye.
Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Commissioner Burnett?
Aye.
Mayor White?
Aye. That motion passes. The consent agenda is approved unanimously. We now turn to item 7, which is our active agenda. Item 7A is an ordinance regarding property on Ogden Avenue. Do I hear a motion with respect to that item?
Mayor White, I motion to adopt an ordinance authorizing a special use for 42 to 76 Ogden Avenue to permit a drive-through for a multi-tenant commercial building with a variation as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And it's our practice and custom, if anybody in the audience wishes to speak in favor of or against this particular item on our agenda, they have an opportunity now to come to the microphone. Don't all charge up here at once. Okay, hearing none, do any members of the council have anything they wish to add on this topic? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Earl?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace?
Aye.
Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Commissioner Burnett?
Aye.
Mayor White?
Aye. That motion again passes unanimously. We turn now to active agenda item 7B, and it's a resolution to approve a final plat of subdivision. Do I have a motion with respect to that item?
Mayor White, I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution approving the final plat of subdivision for 42 to 76 Ogden Avenue as presented.
Second.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Once again, anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor of or against this particular item? Hearing no such comment, anybody on the council wish to speak in favor of or against this particular item? With that, I'll ask for a roll call.
Commissioner Earl?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace?
Aye.
Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Commissioner Burnett?
Aye.
Mayor White?
Aye. That motion also passes unanimously, and that concludes our active agenda. We now turn to the first reading. That's item 8 on our agenda. And this is the first time new items are presented to the village council. We will receive a presentation from staff, and thereafter members of council will have the opportunity to ask questions, and then we'll open up for public comment after that. No action will be taken this evening on any item on the first reading agenda. With that, I turn it over to Manager Fieldman and his designee.
Thank you, Mayor White. Only 2 items on tonight's first reading agenda, both having to do with historic preservation efforts in the village. Here to present information on both items is our Community Development Director, Stan Popovich.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. The first item tonight is a historic preservation ordinance, a text amendment. What we're trying to do here is to, if I can go to the next slide. There we go. Is to make it easier to add information to a home that is already landmarked. So we have an applicant who wishes to add a designation to their home. And so the current process would require them to go through the whole process again and come before you again. So since the home is already landmarked, we've consulted with the state and looked at the National Register program to see how they do something like this. And so they have a supplemental listing record where the applicant can submit additional information to staff, have it heard before the board, and the board can make that decision. So the amendment will amend the definitions section and the procedures section. The petitioner will be required to submit a supplementary listing record, which would then be heard before the Architectural Design Review Board. If it meets the standards as they determine, then it would be added to the record without having to come before the council for a full vote. So it really simplifies the process for an existing landmarked home. If there's any questions, I can answer those for you at this time.
Any questions from members of the council? Commissioner Waldeck.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Not so much a question, but a comment. Reading through this, it makes eminent sense that the people who know about landmark status will do the research and make the final decision without having to go to a village council who is probably less informed as the details on historic landmarks. So I think this makes great sense, and I am happy it's being brought forward. Thanks.
Other members of the council? Anybody in the audience wish to speak regarding this item? Okay. Our procedure is you come to the microphone and state your name and address, and then explain what you're interested in saying.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Holtzen, 5226 Carpenter Street, and we're the reason that Stan is bringing this forward because we have found some information on the people that built our house that we feel is relevant and important to add them to the landmark. So we would appreciate your support on this.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. Rich Calavani, 6825 Camden Road, Chair of Friends of the Edwards House. I also stand in support of this. There are situations where additional research gets found after a landmark process was done. Part of this issue is to provide this information for posterity, including if it was some historic person that they found this information later on. So I think this is great. It also goes to the whole idea and the intent of this council in simplifying landmarking. So that's why I stand in support of this. Thank you.
Other public comment? Okay, as I said earlier, this is a first reading, meaning that no action is taken. It's allowed an initial view at a future action item. Anything else? Otherwise, we can move to the second item on this evening's first reading agenda.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This item is a historic landmark at 4714 Oakwood Avenue. The property is a little bit northwest of downtown Downers Grove. It has frontage on both Oakwood and Montgomery, just one house south of Chicago Avenue. It is the Earl H. Prince home. So this was E.H. Prince's house when he developed the E.H. Prince subdivision that we all know about. It's a landmark application for both its Queen Anne style, which with its asymmetrical building form, and then also for the association with Earl H. Prince as well, being a good founding father of the village and the subdivision there. The home, here's a picture circa about 1915. So that's an older picture. You see already a lot of trees around the property. We do have some pictures here that show the house in current status today. There's a bay window that projects, a curved bay window. You have the cross gable here with some fish scale shingles on the gable end there. And then here you can see the front porch. Again, with the dormer on the top of the roof, unique, you sort of see some curved edges around the dormer. Typically, they're just squared off, and then with the gables off the dormer as well, and then the two round windows up at the top. So some very unique features here. So as I noted, it meets criteria for 50 years of age. It also meets the criteria for a person with Earl H. Prince, E.H. Prince of the E.H. Prince and subdivision. And then it also meets the standards for Queen Anne style, asymmetrical building form, a steeply pitched cross gables, large porch, and varied wall textures as you saw in the pictures. If there's any questions about this petition, I can answer that. Petitioners have also provided a brief video that shows that as well, so we'll play that for you as well.
Roxbury, Vermont, to Joseph Freeman Prince and Sarah Clark. Earl Henry Prince was born October 10, 1861 in Roxbury, Vermont, to Joseph Freeman Prince and Sarah Clark. His ancestors were present at the Boston Tea Party. His great-grandmother was Sarah Wyatt, one of the first women to be prosecuted as a witch in Salem. He married Minnie Harriet Jones from Northfield, Vermont in 1887. Her family has been in America since 1629. After graduating from Norwich, he got his master's in law from the University of Michigan and moved to Chicago to become a developer. He formed E.H. Prince & Company with Emerson Young Foote and later Fannie and Charles Linscott. They purchased about 225 acres of land in Downers Grove, extending from what is now Warren Avenue to Ogden and Oakwood to Highland. Thomas Phillips of the Edmund A. Cummings & Company sold the land to them on June 16, 1890 for the sum of $49,500. E.H. and Emerson both put $4,500 down as down payment. The subdivision prospered with the 1893 World's Fair, but quickly declined when the Depression followed. It was then Mr. Prince decided to join the gold rush with his brother Leo. This didn't financially pan out, nor did it help his marriage. Divorce was filed by Minnie in June of 1901 by cause of desertion. E.H.'s career took a decline, and he filed for bankruptcy in 1905. Being the energetic entrepreneur that he was, he went on to mining, buying a plantation in Louisiana, a ranch in North Dakota, and an ice cream store and ice plant in Dixon, Illinois. We all came to know the ice cream parlor as Prince Castle Ice Cream. E.H.'s son Earl went on to invent the multi-mixer, a device to make 4 milkshakes at once. It was his sales rep, Ray Kroc, that began the McDonald's chain. Minnie was active in politics, labored for women's suffrage, and prohibition. She was one of the founding members in Downers Grove of the League of Women's Voters. E.H. and Minnie began their life together in Downers Grove in 1893, just in time for the World's Fair, and a place they called Prince Home. It is a Queen Anne structure. It has hipped and gable roofline with dormers, ornate trim work, clapboard siding, and a stone foundation. The home welcomes you with its original front door and a wide wraparound porch. Passing through the front door, you are welcomed into an entrance bathed in oak paneling, original floor tiling, windows of stained glass, and an original mirror and pedestal. The home contains beautiful features as trim details, 3 fireplaces, a dinner gong, and many historical finds such as maps and architectural plans. The home was designed by J.B. Moss, architect and builder, whose office was located in the Dickey Building in Downers Grove, now where Forest and Warren Avenue meet. Mr. Moss built his own home on Saratoga Avenue. From the rich family history to the aesthetic beauty of the home, this piece of Downers Grove history needs to be preserved and landmarked for generations to come, enabling our community to continue to appreciate a rich history and the past generations we have come to know. Ladies and gentlemen, Prince Home.
Any questions from members of council? It's pretty impressive. Very impressive.
Just a quick statement. We need more stuff like this at council meetings. Thank you for everybody involved. Thank you.
Yes, this is very impressive.
Very well done.
It's amazing the connections that you didn't realize were there.
Oh, yeah. Amazing. I can't possibly follow that, so that went into our first reading tonight.
Well, actually, does anybody in the audience want to say anything? I guess we can't cut that off. Yes. Wouldn't want to cut you off.
Good evening. I'm Cindy Zeski. I live at 1130 Franklin Street, and I'm here on behalf of Ruth and John Wander. They're out of town this evening, or they would have been here. This is very exciting for them, and they're very honored that their house is up for landmarking. So these are John's words, put into my words, but shortened for you a bit. He said they would like to express their wish for 4714 Oakwood to be landmarked so that the community will have a reminder of our forefathers and the vision of the town that they wish to see develop. They hope that each family that comes to live in the home will continue to be a contributing member of Downers Grove by preserving a piece of its history. And I found a quote that kind of sums it all up by Winston Churchill. He said, "We shape our buildings, thereafter they shape us." Thank you.
Hi, Rich Calavani, still 6825 Camden Road, Downers Grove. Also stand in support of this. This is a wonderful example of both architecture and the historical person. This is one of just 62 homes that were identified as significant in the 2013 survey. And if any type of property should be protected, it's really this type of property. The other thing that's really gratifying is when you look at all the history and these connections, then people, when they're doing their research, they find out that, wow, I didn't know that Cock Robin ice cream was tied to the E.H. Prince subdivision. So I think it's those pearls, and people get to understand it's more than just the physical building that they're destroying. It's the memories and the part of the fabric and the history of Downers Grove that gets destroyed. So just congratulations. We really want to thank the Wanderers for coming forward and protecting this property. Thank you.
Good evening, Amy Gasson, 5320 Benton Avenue. The most difficult part of landmarking your home is making the decision to do it. This is, as already noted, such a wonderful example of a historically significant home, but also, as noted and shown in the video, such a great example architecturally of the Queen Anne style. There's so many elements of it that are Queen Anne, and so it's wonderful to see this home up for landmark designation to be preserved for the future. I just also wanted to mention that this home was recently recognized by the Downers Grove Historical Society and Downers Grove Museum's Historic Home Program, so that's very exciting as well, and always nice to see how well these two programs complement each other. And I just want to thank the homeowners for making the decision to go through this process, and obviously I fully support it. Thank you.
Okay, I think unless there's somebody else, that now is our first reading.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, next on the agenda is the mayor's report, which I'll make the Mayor Pro Tem's report this evening. I do just have a few items. First, I do want to recognize, in some ways actually, with this evening, it might be a trifecta for the Friends of the Edwards House. So we have congratulations on the award that was received this past Saturday. That's been publicized widely. It's a very good thing. The Historic House Tour is this Saturday, September 23rd. You contact Shannon Tully, I think just left, about how to get the tickets. And third, next Tuesday, there'll be a program presentation on how to landmark your house. I believe that's 6:30 at Emmett's. Is that correct? Okay. Next thing I want to mention is many people know that I'm involved with an organization known as DG Frog. Registration for the fall Super Saturday classes will open either this weekend or early next week. Classes will start, I believe, 4 weeks from Saturday, so there's plenty of time. But there's some good highlights this year. Mary Jo Campbell, who is a noted local fiction writer, is teaching a class on fiction writing for middle school and younger students. That class will very likely fill up very quickly. There's a teacher from South High who's going to offer Get Going with German. I imagine that's introduction to the German language. There'll be 3 sessions of the ever-popular cupcake decorating class that always fills up. I think everybody who has young children, so again, as soon as registration is open at dgfrog.org, you're better off get signed up for that. And I personally am going to be teaching 2 sessions of a class with quad rotors or drones. One class is Introduction to Quadcopters, little tiny drone things where you learn about them. I'll teach a little bit of physics, but mostly I'll let the middle school kids play with them. And then in the second class, we're calling it Battle Drones, that if you know how to use a quadcopter, we're going to play playground games such as Capture the Flag or Red Rover or Dodgeball, or maybe even something like Quidditch adapted for use with drones. I'm not promising any will survive the class, but at least we're going to try. So I'll talk about more of that probably in our next meeting in 2 weeks. The materials to register will be available, but some of these classes may very well be filled up because the registration will open next week. And I do want to just sort of finally end with sort of a philosophical point. I talked a little bit earlier about the core services and Commissioner Waldeck's marvelous metaphor of the apple core and the entire apple. And thinking about our fire department this evening, along with our fine, superb police department and public works and infrastructure, those really are core services. And while we want to do more than that, that is the core that we begin with. And I happened to recently buy a tie with the words of the Declaration of Independence written on them. And in that document, Thomas Jefferson wrote that people, he said men, but he meant people, that people form governments to protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That phrase, the pursuit of happiness, was a radical change from the prior English constitutional law, life, liberty, and property. And it occurred to me that the protection of life, liberty, and property is core services. That governments are created to protect life, liberty, and property. That's why we have fire departments, why we have police departments, why we have public infrastructure. But the pursuit of happiness then adds the whole apple, so that we have the core, which we must do, and this village does in an outstandingly good job. But then we have the whole apple. So Commissioner Waldeck's metaphor easily ties back to Thomas Jefferson. So that's my comment for this evening. And that ends the Mayor Pro Tem's report.
Under the manager's report this evening, Mayor, no report.
Okay, councilman reports. Commissioner Jose?
I have one.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, just very, very quickly, just one item to present this evening, and that is an ordinance amending provisions for landmark designation filing. That is all. Thank you.
Okay, councilman reports. Commissioner Jose, any report?
Thank you. I just want to join in congratulating Chief Pendelski. Obviously, he had a very impressive list of credentials, and I know he'll do a tremendous job at the helm of the fire department. Thank you.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Thank you, Mayor. A week ago, or a little more than a week ago, the Downtown Management Corporation had their annual meeting, and one of the things that impressed me was the report that we have 98% occupancy for our businesses and property. That's fantastic. And last week's meeting, we were discussing the downtown. And so if you have an interest in, if you have a business or you own property, or even if you have a general interest in protecting our downtown, please follow with future meetings. I think the reason why we have a 98% occupancy is through the hard work of the Downtown Management Corporation. Linda Kunze is actively out there looking for business or fielding calls, trying to get the right businesses in the right place. And there's something about our downtown that draws entrepreneurs and businesses that you wouldn't find at a typical shopping mall. They come here because properties are adaptable, space is adaptable, and they work very hard to achieve that occupancy, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for that. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Wallace?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to echo a congratulations to Chief Pendelski. I know he'll do an excellent job in this new role. That is all.
Commissioner Barnett?
No report, Bill.
Commissioner Earl?
Ditto to Chief Pendelski.
Thank you. Okay, that ends council member reports. Any other business? If not, the chair would invite a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.